Phantasmal prices are dropping far quicker than expected, though what will be the future for this set? Now today is a good day, so I'm actually gifting this Baxcalibur illustration rare. Now this is a fantastic illustration by the artist Komiya. Now to know if you won this card, if I do reply to your comment with this shiny magic carp emoji, then congratulations, this card is being sent to you. And hey, if you're new around here, my name's Phil and I run this Pokemon collecting and investing channel. Feel free to subscribe to stay in the loop for consistent content. But I think collectors are kind of finding where they need to place Phantasmal Flames right now, and it's had a very interesting release. I mean, this set is very much pull Charizard or bust, and given the new prices of sealed booster boxes, this does leave Phantasmal Flames in a unique position. Because, you know, we've got a lot of people saying, you know, oh, if you just enjoy the hobby, you know, just open the packs, enjoy it, it's a hobby. And honestly, I do agree with that advice. Back when booster boxes were like 120 US. But right now, you're paying $300 per booster box. It does become a bit of a different story. I mean, buying at 120, you know, you can follow that advice of like, you know, just rip it, you know, enjoy it. It's gonna be a fun kind of opening experience. But you know, I kind of feel like, you know, having an audience of this size and, you know, speaking to you, you know, I probably wouldn't just, you know, I don't want to be telling all you guys, hey, just rip open booster boxes for fun when you're buying them for 300 US. You know, it's a lot of money, right? So there is those levels playing out with Phantasmal Flames because yes, there is some awesome cards in the set, but you know, a lot of this set, which I'm about to show you in this video, comes down to the fact of if you do pull the Mega Charizard EX or you do pull, you know, the Mega Hyper Rare, you've done well. If not, you're in kind of muddy water. And honestly, I think Phantasmal Flames is one of the first sets where the juice just doesn't seem worth the squeeze in terms of the contents of what you can pull. But you know, let's check it out. All right, let's go on the first one, the booster box. Now, the thing is about this set, there is cool parts of it, okay? And I will show you some of the cards and, you know, talk about it as well. But, you know, given the prices of the booster box at the moment, let's just look at this right now. You can see the booster box kind of came out at 344 US, which, you know, that's really expensive, okay? Went all the way down to, you know, 296, which, you know, I don't even know if that's all the way down. It just kind of fell down a little bit from that high point. Currently, you know, the booster box selling for $306. The advice of just open these packs, have fun. I mean, if you are buying, you know, if you can get it at more like close to retail price, that's not retail price. If you're new to the hobby, that's completely out of this world, you know, that pricing. If you can get it to know, you know, some more decent levels, then okay, sure, open the booster box, have fun. If you're paying $300, this is where it becomes difficult because of what you can pull. We can see the Mega Charizard EX. Okay, now this one, as that graph right there, has had a bit of a sharp decline. I do think, you know, we're gonna have to see. Give this card right now 2 or 3 months to see what happens. Right now, the Charizard, you know, it was selling for $967 when it kind of came to the market. Went all the way down to $729. Right now, you know, selling for around $781. People are figuring out what is going on with this card. I think, you know, some people are a bit worried to spend, you know, $1,000, you know, 850 US on this card at the moment. I think with pull rates, a lot of people are seeing, hey, it is coming out. Pull rate data, which I'm about to take you through in a second. I mean, if you do open this booster box, it is so heavily reliant on, you know, pulling this card or pulling the Mega Gold Charizard. Like that is so much where the contents of this booster box comes into play. And I do feel that that is gonna have some impact on the set. And you know, it does, to me, it makes it feel like a little bit less interesting because yes, you're gonna pull one of the best Charizard artworks ever made. In fact, I think this is the greatest Charizard artwork ever created in the TCG. So you've got this incredible high point for this set. But of course, you know, when you gotta, you know, spend $300 for a chance to pull a $780 card, and then when you see the pull rates, that's when the questions kind of start coming up. So moving on to Inferno X, and I find this interesting, which is the Japanese equivalent. You can see, you know, selling for 147, you know, at the start of November, right now selling for $133. You know, for this kind of booster box in particular, I think it's a pretty good price, you know, for pretty much, you know, you can pull like the Oricorio special art rare as well, and of course you can pull the Mega Charizard from this as well. And just looking at the Mega Charizard, the Japanese version, you know, this was selling for $717 for a Japanese special art rare. That was really expensive. But you know, kind of dropping right now, selling for $670. I do think with the release of the English version, you know, that one's selling for like right there, selling for $670 US. The English Charizard is currently selling for around $790. I kind of think like $670, $790, you know, that's actually more kind of even prices. So that is a little bit interesting right now. Now, before we go further into the video, if you are a fan of Japanese Pokemon cards, like I've just shown you in this video, then that does bring me to today's video sponsor, Bai. Now, if you've ever tried to buy something directly from Japan, it's likely you've run into that dreaded cannot ship to your country message. Well, that's actually where Bai comes in. Bai is a Japanese proxy shopping service which acts as your go-between for purchases in Japan. Bai lets you shop from Japanese marketplaces and handles all the shipping and packaging for you. So on Bai, you can just really easily search for something such as Pokemon cards, and Bai will show you what's available. For example, the Inferno X Booster Boxes have been very much in demand, and you can just search for any of those Pokemon booster boxes on Bai. Now, if you do decide to buy something, then the item actually gets shipped to Bai's warehouse, and then the item is packaged and gets ready for international shipment to your door. Bai covers a wide range of regions, including North America, Oceania, and Europe. So if you are a fan of Japanese exclusive items or products, Bai is definitely worth checking out. Now, what's so cool is that if you are a first-time user, you can actually get 10% off your first purchase by using the link in the description. A massive thanks to Bai for sponsoring today's video and supporting the channel. Now let's get back into it. Pull rates right now, this is really important. We can see, just looking at the illustration rares firstly, to pull any illustration rare is 1 in 9 packs, which is, pretty decent. And then to pull a specific is 1 in 118, which is actually pretty good pull rates, right? That's fair. Magikarp is like 1 in 400 pull rates for like Paldea Evolved. So this one definitely has less illustration rares, but that's okay. In terms of the special illustration rares, you can see here, any special illustration rare is 1 in 80, and then a specific special illustration rare is 1 in 400. So definitely easier pull rates than what we've had in previous sets. This is similar to Stellar Crown, but then when you look at like specific pull rates for like Destined Rivals or Prismatic Evolutions, they're really, really high. So the Charizard will be easier to pull than a lot of those other sets we've seen. The real difficult kind of card to pull is this Mega Hyper Rare, which, to pull it is 1 in 1,260 packs, which is pretty close to the Prismatic Evolutions Umbreon. Pull rates for them, they're not exactly crazy hard. They're a little bit more challenging than Pokemon 151, but definitely easier than Destined Rivals, Surging Sparks, or Prismatic Evolutions. We've entered a new kind of rarity with this new Mega Hyper Rare, and they're a little bit too hard to pull, I think, for my liking. I think you make a really challenging kind of card to get. And then the price of these are very expensive, but right now they're selling for $650 US. Here's the thing, when I just showed you those pull rates, you're buying a booster box for $300. Out of those 36 booster packs, you've got a 1 in 400 chance to pull the Charizard, the special illustration rare, or you've got a very low chance of a 1 in 1,200 chance to pull this Mega Charizard. I don't think there's anything wrong to think like, okay, if I spent $300 on a booster box, hopefully I can pull. It's not about making money. If you're trying to open booster boxes to make money, dude, that's crazy banana behavior. Buy the singles. And I'm just saying this for everyone watching. If you do want some of these cards, please, man, it's much better to, just wait it out or, save the money and buy the single you really want rather than kind of ripping booster packs and booster boxes to try get these cards. The pull rates are quite challenging. They're, like I said, they're not as hard as other sets, but if you're trying to do that, it's much better to just buy the singles that you want. And I think with that Mega Charizard, given the fact of, I am seeing the price kind of dropped a little bit. It's kind of volatile right now. Not sure where it's going to go at this stage, but it just depends, because I do think also this Mega Evolution era that we're in, I think the artworks are going to be good. So yeah, look, point short, don't be a banana. That's as simple as it is. And if you do want banana merch, let me know. I'm thinking about making some banana merch. All right, now moving on to this Mega Charizard EX, the full art. You can see selling for 101, went all the way down to $44. That's a pretty steep decline. Right now selling for 56. And here's the thing with this Phantasmal Flames. Like, how many Charizards have I just shown you? This video, I don't think I've even gone from another Pokemon other than Charizard. That's the whole basis of these sets. These Charizard sets are so much focused on it, and I have, as a collector, I have got a little bit of Charizard fatigue, especially when I get a set that's just stacked. Like, there's so many Charizard cards in this set. 56 US for this, definitely a decent price for a full art. Will that hold? We're just gonna have to see, because I don't think that price is gonna hold. I think in a few months, that is gonna go down much further. And moving on to the Mega Lopunny. Okay, this is definitely a cool card in the set. Was selling for around 50 US, went all the way up to $65, currently selling for 45 US. interesting kind of price point for this card in particular. You know, $45 for a special illustration rare, that's pretty good, man. In terms of when sets release, usually we do see big price drops, though, you know, for 2025, we've actually kind of seen the opposite. We've actually seen some big price hikes when cards release. So this is kind of interesting right now. I think the pull rates mixed with the kind of it's Charizard or bust, it very much is pull Charizard or, you know, hopefully you pull some of these other cards, but not to sound like that person, but, you know, even if you do pull the Mega Lopunny, right, and you pull a few other illustration rares, you're nowhere near coming to kind of making up for that cost, or even like not even like you're pretty much guaranteed to lose a lot of money if you don't pull one of those Charizards. And I know that's not a good way to look at the hobby, but the reason I'm saying that for everyone, and the reason I actually have good intentions when I'm saying that, because the price of the hobby has become very expensive. So, you know, when I've got an audience and you know, I'm speaking to all of you, if you're going to be spending, you know, $300 on a booster box, you kind of have to just weigh it up and see, is it going to be a good decision to open this booster box? You know, what are my chances to pull anything? If you do pull something, be super happy with it. You know, it's great that you kind of had that fun opening experience. There's still a bit of an experience to open booster boxes, like I agree. But at the same time, you know, there is that thing, because the hobby has become, you know, it's actually nearly tripled in price, because, you know, you could buy like, you know, Scarlet and Violet base booster boxes and Powder Evolved back in the day for like $110, right? So for that reason, I do just always want to tell everyone, hey, you know, if you want this Mega Lopunny, probably buy it, like the single, rather than trying to buy open booster boxes to like try pull it, you know what I mean? Now also, if you do end up pulling some heat from Phantasmal Flames, definitely feel free to share that in my channel's Discord. We have over 10,000 members and growing daily. The server invite is in the video's description. And moving on to the Mega Sharpedo, selling for 60 US, you know, right now it's selling for $43. And we can see, you know, the prices of these kind of special illustration rares definitely have been coming down in price. Whether that's gonna hold or not, I do think that prices for Phantasmal Flames over the long, like pretty much 3 or 4 months from now, will have a point where they continue to drop. They're already not that expensive at the moment, but if we look at Obsidian Flames, because this set is reminding me so much of Obsidian Flames, a lot of those illustration rares, man, they were selling for like the Cleffa. I remember that was selling for $4 at one point, right? Even the Sizzle, that was like an under $10 card for such a long time. So, you know, there is chances for these to continue to drop, but, you know, we're just gonna have to wait kind of to see what happens. At the moment, I'm not bullish on Phantasmal Flames. You know, I did make a video about it just the other day. A lot of people were like, geez, Phil, you came a little bit harsh, man. Like, you were saying that this set is like, you know, geez, why aren't you kind of hyping this set up? And to be honest, I just don't like, I'm just being honest with my thoughts. I don't think the set is as great as a lot of people want it to be. And I'd rather not just, you know, hype it up further and kind of lie for clicks, right? You know, I'd rather just be honest. Like, to me, I don't really rate the set that much. So why am I now gonna, you know, I'd probably get more views if I said, this set is incredible, man. Phantasmal Flames, the most insane Pokemon set you've ever seen in your life. This is it, buy it now. You know, everyone jumps in, everyone's going on it. But I did actually take a different approach, and that was just genuinely because I did it, I share the same kind of thoughts. I don't think the set is honestly that good. I know a lot of people are saying, Phil, that you're gonna, you know, you saying that it's gonna age like milk. But you know what? I actually reckon when we go further in this Mega Evolution era, a lot of people are going to look back at Phantasmal Flames and say, you know what? Yeah, hey, it probably wasn't that crazy good. Like, we had an amazing Charizard card in it, and we've got some other cool special illustration rares, but you know, it's nowhere near kind of the quality which we're going to get. I actually prefer Mega Evolution over Phantasmal Flames at the moment. Now, the Meowth illustration rare is actually surprising me to see the price drop, even though like illustration rares are not that difficult to pull in Phantasmal Flames. You know, the pre-release was selling for 57, right? Or around $50. And then now it's selling for $26. Now, considering that it is Meowth, you know, really, really hyped card, because everyone was like, when's this coming to the English sets? You know, I'm actually surprised to see it at 26 US. I thought this one would be a little bit more resilient, but given the easier pull rates, given all this, you know, we're gonna have to see where this also goes, but that one has surprised me. And moving on to the Piplup, as you can see, selling for $30 on pre-release, you know, now selling for $19. This is actually a cool illustration rare. Some of the illustration rares are pretty cool in this set. Of course, though, you know, none none of these like pre-evos are ever going to get special illustration rares unless it's a Pikachu. So because of that, you know, a lot of us would love to see some of these. I would love to see special illustration rares and textured artworks of, you know, first stage evolutions. I think it would open up the market a lot. But of course, you know, illustration rares usually aren't textured, and that comes down into the price points as well. Selling for $19, there will be a lot of people who love this card. I know Piplup has so many fans. So, you know, get plupping. Get plupping. And the Wigglytuff illustration rare as well, selling for $18. Right now selling for, you know, just under 10 US, which is, wow, okay. Pretty, though, that's actually surprised me a lot. I thought this artwork's all right. So, yeah, interesting. I think Phantasmal Flames, you know, there's a lot of kind of hype around it at the moment, but, you know, I'm kind of feeling, I give this a few more weeks, man. I think people will kind of be like, hey, maybe it was a little bit overhyped, you know, because that Charizard, I'm losing my words here. Here's the thing, right? Because the Charizard is so good, it really does make this set seem incredible. But in terms of that Charizard, that's when you look at the other sets and you're like, good illustration rares. You know, we got to see where it is. Yes, it's kind of common for when a set releases, prices come down. But, you know, they're dropping a little bit quicker than I would have thought as well, given the hype around the set. You know, Destined Rivals didn't have such huge price drawbacks when it released. But anyway, let me know how you've been kind of going with Phantasmal Flames. I know there's a lot of love for the set, and if you do love the set, you know, good on you. You know, I'm glad that you're enjoying it, because that's what the hobby's about. You got to also enjoy these sets as well. But of course, we're gonna have to see, like, what is the future for this Mega Evolution era? As I said, is Legends EA gonna be enough to hold off this kind of new whole era until Generation 10 comes out? Generation 10 won't be coming out until late next year. And, you know, even if Generation 10 comes out, it won't be until March of 2027, probably, until we get a Generation 10 set, if it kind of follows the trajectory of other sets. So we're just gonna have to see. I mean, it's an interesting time right now in the hobby. But as much as Phantasmal Flames has interesting pull rates, I do think a lot of these cards will be fairly priced, and it will make a good kind of list of what Pokemon cards you should buy. And if you are wondering about the top 10 Pokemon cards which are fairly priced at the moment, I do reveal that in this video right here. Within this video that's currently appearing on screen, I go over the 10 Pokemon cards that are really cool in the current market. Click the video that's currently appearing on screen to see that topic there. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you on the next video.